The film begins with a boy named Diego. At that time, he sees some men stopping at his family's farmhouse. The leader of these men is named Blaine. He's a bad businessman. Blaine came to talk about buying their land. Diego's dad says no to Blaine's offer and tells him to leave. This makes things tense. Diego wants to protect his parents. His mom takes him inside the house, but Diego is curious and sneaks out of the window. He sees Blaine's men kill his dad. They also hurt his mom. One of the men, Silas, tells Diego to run away. After Diego's parents were moved inside the house, Silas told everyone that Diego was also taken care of. But Diego actually snuck back into the house and found his parents' bodies. Later, Silas came back and said sorry to Diego for what happened to his parents. He decided to send Diego to China to live with his dad, Bingwen, and his little sister, Xinyi. Diego was interested in the martial arts training Bingwen was giving Xinyi, but he felt too shy to join. During dinner, Bingwen noticed Diego's interest and invited him to join the training. The next morning, Diego found gloves by his bed and started practicing with Bingwen and Xinyi. The training was tough, and Diego got bored and wanted to learn how to fight real people. There, Bingwen explained that martial arts are for self-defense, not for causing trouble. They're meant to protect yourself, your family, and others. 10 years later, Diego grew up and became a skilled martial artist thanks to Bingwen's training. One night, Diego overheard Bingwen talking to Silas on a video call. Bingwen wanted Diego to come back home, but Silas warned it could be dangerous because Blaine would be after him. Hearing Blaine's name made Diego angry, so he started hitting a punching bag. Bingwen calmed him down, reminding him that he couldn't save his parents. Diego wanted to go back to America to reclaim his family's land and stop Blaine, but Bingwen said no because Diego was still too focused on revenge. Bingwen said he could go back only if he did things the right way. But Diego didn't listen. Without telling Bingwen and Xinyi, he packed his things and sailed to America. On the ship, 2 men tried to steal from him, but Diego fought them off and got arrested when they called security. In America, Blaine met a man named Ryan who was involved in human trafficking along with land grabbing. After a while, a sheriff named Hansen met Blaine. It turned out Blaine paid Hansen to help hide his criminal activities. But now, Hansen thought he wasn't getting enough money for it. There, Blaine suggested Hansen could make quick money by selling his daughter. Hansen got angry and warned Blaine never to mention his daughter again. Then Hansen left before things got worse. Meanwhile, Diego's ship arrived in Mexico. After he was released, Diego went on a journey and ended up in a bar. There he saw a man named William get into a fight with 2 guys in black jackets. It seemed like William hit one of them out of nowhere and then left, but another guy confronted him. At that time, William had to fight, even though it wasn't a fair fight. Diego saw this but didn't want to get involved at first. But when one of the guys mentioned Blaine, Diego got emotional and jumped in to help William. After they beat up the 3 guys, Diego asked about Blaine. But then they heard police sirens, so William told Diego to leave quickly. After a while, they stopped at the beach. Diego noticed Blaine's company logo on William's car and thought William worked for Blaine. But William explained he used to work for Blaine until his sister died from drugs Blaine ordered. Feeling guilty, William quit. But Blaine kept sending his men to silence William, who knew too much. Besides being a land mafia and human trafficker, Blaine also dealt drugs. Hearing this, Diego shared how Blaine killed his family, and he wanted revenge. William offered to help Diego cross the border but didn't want to confront Blaine. Diego convinced him that stopping Blaine would help them both get justice. Finally, William agreed. After a while, William reached the border where an officer wanted to check his car. But when the officer saw Blaine's company logo on the car, he let William pass without checking. William hadn't removed the logo because Blaine's name made it easier to avoid the officers, but it also made it easier for Blaine's men to find him. After fooling the officers, William and Diego rested at a restaurant. They saw a woman trying to steal William's car, but she actually attacked them with a knife, injuring William. Seeing that, Diego stopped her. Her name was Blanca, and she hated Blaine, her former boss. She saw Blaine's logo on the car too. There, Diego told Blanca about their plan to get revenge on Blaine for killing his parents and William's sister. Blanca said she was kidnapped and worked in a brothel, but escaped with the girl's help. Sadly, the girl was caught. Blanca tried to rescue other girls from Blaine's headquarters, but couldn't find the one who helped her. Diego asked Blanca to join them, and she agreed if they helped free the detained girls. That night, the three of them arrived at one of Blaine's properties and decided to camp there. Blanca explained that Blaine didn't stay in one place for long. Suddenly, a groundskeeper named James appeared and pointed a gun at them, telling them to leave. But then they started talking, and James explained he was just doing his job to keep people off Blaine's land. He didn't want to hurt anyone, but Blaine threatened his family, so he had to work for him. Soon after, Diego untied James, which made William protest. Then James recognized William as the person who brought illegal drugs to his community, leading to his brother's death. Without letting William explain, James attacked him. Luckily, Blanca stopped the fight by firing a warning shot. Diego explained why they were there, but James said attacking Blaine would be a big mistake. Even if they put him in prison, Blaine wouldn't stop hunting them until they and their families were all dead. However, James refused to join them but promised not to tell Blaine about them. After James left, Diego decided they needed to get rid of Blaine for good. The next morning, Silas was relaxing at his house when he saw Diego and his friends at the door. There, Diego told Silas how he saved his life when he was a kid. Soon after, Silas invited Diego inside but asked Blanca and William to stay out. Silas was happy to see Diego, but warned him not to come to his house because Blaine might find out and harm him. Then Diego explained he came to stop Blaine because he couldn't forget his parents' death. Even though Silas thought Diego's revenge plan was a bad idea, he let them stay for a while. Diego asked Silas to help them get into Blaine's headquarters, but Silas said Blaine was too powerful and above the law. However, at that time, Silas didn't even dare to stop working for Blaine for the safety of his family, so he couldn't help them. When there was a lot of tension, Blanca showed Silas a picture of a girl and said she was the one who helped him escape from Blaine. Silas was really surprised and upset because he found out the girl was actually his long-lost daughter. He realized his boss had betrayed him. Silas decided to help them and even wanted to finish off Blaine. Meanwhile, in China, Bingwen was meditating when someone knocked on his door. Two guys in suits came in and greeted him, but then they forced their way in. Switching to America, Ryan meets Blaine and tells him that his team will be back from China soon. Blaine reveals that he doesn't trust Silas anymore, so he orders his men to kidnap Bingwen and Simi. Meanwhile, in different places, Silas tells Diego that the deed to his family's land is in a safe in Blaine's office. William says one of his friends can drive a car to pick up the girls. After getting everything ready, they hide in Silas's car. But when they get there, Blaine's office is empty. At that moment, Diego sees this as a chance and asks Blanca to show them where the girls are. They find the two men who kidnapped Bingwen and Simi playing cards, and Blanca takes care of them. They then see a guard on the phone and enter the room to free the girls. After rescuing the girls, Blanca chose to stay back to deal with Ryan, who had kidnapped her. She locked herself in a room with him and confronted him. After a fierce fight, Blanca killed Ryan and joined her friends to send the girls to safety. Silas, worried about his daughter, asked one of the girls, who sadly told him that his daughter had been killed the night Blanca escaped. Silas was devastated by the news. Meanwhile, Blanca left again, this time to ensure the girls' safety. But as soon as she left, 3 of Blaine's men held them at gunpoint. One of them contacted Blaine, who ordered them to keep Diego, William, and Silas alive because Simi and Bingwen were already hostages. Blaine showed Silas a photo of Simi and Bingwen, making him very angry. After a while, Blaine met them, so no one noticed Diego trying to open the handcuffs. While Blaine said hi to everyone, a car came into the office yard. The driver, James, suddenly started shooting at Blaine's friends, and there was a big fight. James ran out of bullets, so Blaine's friends aimed their guns at him. But then Diego showed up and finished off him. It turned out James decided to help them fight Blaine after a talk they had the night before. Soon after, the four of them searched for Blaine, who was hiding in the main building. They had to fight Blaine's other men. When they were running low on bullets, knives suddenly flew out and took down the guards. It was Blanca, who had come back after making sure the girls were safe. They took the guards' weapons and kept looking for Blaine. But then a guard shot James and Blanca from behind, so Diego and Silas decided to keep searching while the others dealt with the guard. After a while, the two arrived at Blaine's office and found Bingwin and Simi held at gunpoint. Blaine then told them to drop their weapons and suddenly shot Silas, which made Diego attack him. Diego was struggling, but Silas, despite being injured, managed to free Simi, who then helped Diego. Their fight didn't seem to have much effect until Silas shot Blaine in the back. Then, in a burst of anger, Diego finished off Blaine. Sadly, Silas died while being held by his father, daughter, and Diego. After taking the deed to his family's land from Blaine's safe, Diego and the others are surprised when Sheriff Hansen enters the room. At first, they think about turning themselves in, but the sheriff tells them to leave and promises to handle everything. It seems the sheriff was glad that Blaine, who had been causing trouble for him and threatening his daughter's safety, was gone. There, Diego apologizes to Bingwin for leaving them, but he says Diego made the right choice. Despite everything that happened, they decide to team up and fight people like Blaine all over America. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is never mess with a man's land, unless you're ready to fight some serious karate chops.